Now, production motorcycles can often be a bit of a letdown after seeing the awesome prototypes that manufacturers come up with. But on the other hand, Husqvarna builds some of the most daringly styled motorcycles on the market. So when an image leaked for the imminent Norden 901 adventure bike, I was excited to see what it's finally going to look like in its production-ready form. So in today's video, we'll take a look at the story of this bike so far, as well as compare the new image with the prototype to see if it's going to look anything like it. But before we get started, if you're new here and you want to get all of the latest motorcycle news right here on YouTube, then please do remember to hit subscribe. Now, in case you're not already aware, KTM is the parent company of Husqvarna, and Husky have done an amazing job of taking existing KTM bikes and skinning them up in their own unique visual style. Take, for example, the Svartpillen and Vitpillen 701, which are based upon the chassis and engine of the 690 Duke, or the Svartpillen and Vitpillen 401, which are based upon the 390 Duke. It's all down to personal taste, but I absolutely love the visual style of these bikes, and therefore the more KTMs that get the Husqvarna treatment, the better in my eyes. So when I visited EICMA last year, I was super excited to see the Husqvarna Norden 901 concept in the flesh. KTM are expected to launch an updated 890 version of their highly regarded 790 Adventure this year, and so this is the Husqvarna take on that hotly anticipated machine. My favourite parts of the Norden 901 concept are the aggressive straight lines of the bodywork, the snub-nosed rally-style front end, the integrated peripheral lights and slightly retro-looking round headlight, but probably most of all it's the finish. It moves from a dark grey at the top to a contour line styled graphic, to a fluorescent strip of yellowy green, and then down to a matte aluminium finish on the substantial sump guard. To me, it all works really nicely together, but it also looks purposeful with the crash bars, handguards, the tall stance, and the soft luggage all attached. Fast forward a few months and Husqvarna confirmed that they'd actually be taking this concept bike into production, much to the joy of middleweight adventure bike fans. More bikes in the market is almost always a good thing for us punters, and the Norden will make a great competitor to the likes of the Triumph Tiger 900, Ducati Multistrada 950 and the BMW F850 GS, to name but a few. And I also had a recent experience which got me even more hyped for this bike. I borrowed the 890 Duke R for a week from KTM, and the engine was absolutely fantastic. It's a torquey, powerful, lively 890cc parallel twin with a slick gearbox and a cracking quickshifter. The engine in the Norden 901 and KTM's 890 Adventure will be much the same, albeit with a different tune which will emphasise mid-range grunt. The only reservation that I'd have about the 890 Duke R is that it really is a sports naked kind of bike through and through. The handling is sharp, the seat is tall and firm, and it keeps you on your toes. It's an absolute blast, but for day in day out riding, something a bit more chilled out might be preferable. So that same engine in a more comfortable riding position and with a different aesthetic, well, that ticks a lot of boxes for me. But will this bike materialise as the awesome machine I'm hoping for, or will homologation and production practicalities result in a watered down version of the edgy prototype I saw last year? An internal PowerPoint presentation has been leaked which contained this image of the production version of the Norden 901, and although it's black and white and hardly high resolution, it still shows some of the similarities and differences with the stunning concept bike. Let's start with some of the changes. Of course, the production bike has mirrors and a license plate holder to make it road legal. Concept bikes always look sleeker and lower without mirrors, but there's nothing that Husky can really do about that with the production bike. As for the license plate holder, it really doesn't spoil the look of the bike at all to me. The trend for sport and naked bikes is to have really short tail sections at the moment, so to get the number plate behind the rear wheel is required by law. Manufacturers either have to stick the plate on a swing arm mounted holder, which I know a lot of people aren't keen on, or a really long stalk protruding out from the tail section, which again, most people swap out for a tail tidy because they look a bit daft. But with adventure bikes, a short tail just wouldn't be practical. For a start, if you're going to use your adventure bike for going touring, you'll want the option to be able to take a passenger. You might also want to strap some luggage onto the back, and also a bit of protection from rain and mud spraying up from the rear wheel is certainly a good thing. So the subframe is already pretty long to accommodate all of this stuff, and the number plate can just hang off the back with minimal impact on the silhouette of the bike. You'll also notice that the substantial crash bars and the tank rack are missing from this bike, although that doesn't mean that they won't be available as optional parts in the accessories catalogue, and the same of course could be said for the luggage. The finish on the silencer is also different, with matte black on the concept and what looks like a brushed metal on this picture. I actually think that the black finish helps to hide the bulk of it a little, so I prefer the look of the concept, but again, there's usually a couple of options for exhaust in the accessories catalogue, and some of these finishes might not yet have been completely finalised. Something that looked really cool on the concept bike was the disc guards on the front brakes. It gives it an aggressive dirt bike look, but these aren't present in the pictures of the production bike, which is no real surprise. It's super rare to see these on road or adventure bikes. The other difference I noticed in the two pictures is the gap between the front wheel and the bodywork. It could just be the slight angle in the photo of the concept, but it looks like there's more space there, whereas the production bike looks a little lower and closer to the front wheel. There could be a couple of reasons for this, one being less travel in the forks, and the other being more bulk to the front of the fairings. It does give the concept bike a bit more of a jacked up look to it, but really it's a minor difference, and the majority of the stance of the bike and the bodywork appears to be the same. The shapes of the panels, the logo placement, the contour line graphics all look spot on, and the flatness of the front end looks pretty much the same too. It's hard to make out much of the specific componentry from this grainy picture, and the forks are tucked away behind some guards, but the knobbly tyres on spoked wheels and radially mounted front brake calipers all look pretty much in line with the concept bike. You can even see some protrusions on the side of the front fairings that look like they'll house those awesome looking integrated peripheral lights. In fact, I've roughly added the fluorescent paint accents to the production image in Photoshop, and the end result looks almost exactly the same as the Norden 901 concept. So all in all, it looks like Husky have done an amazing job of turning the EICMA concept into a reality, and I can't wait to see it when it's finally out, and hopefully I'll be able to take one for a spin. But as always, let me know what you think of the production picture in the comments below. Do you think that this bike will have what it takes to become the new king of the middleweight adventure bike segment? And if not, which other bike would be your pick? Let me know in the comments. And if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.